loss of Kirby Moore. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this Missouri team this year.
Bino, Jeff, South Carolina sitting there at 11. You mentioned this earlier. That's a bugaboo for us. This is the first part of Tennessee's bottom feeder schedule. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there are two places that Tennessee absolutely has to take care of business that they haven't recently, and that's at Arkansas and at South Carolina, if they're going to have any type of season like we hope that they're going to have. So they need to scratch those two itches for sure.
The thing is, they have a quarterback in any one particular game is capable of beating you if he's not all beat up by the time we get to him. Lee, what's your sense of what surrounds him this year?
Well, I think his weapons, I think, are okay. I mean, I'm not totally enamored with a lot of the weapons. A lot of it's the offensive line that surrounds Sellers. But, I mean, the biggest thing for South Carolina is Kendall Briles, taking over as OC.
Yeah.
We kind of know what this is going to look like. It's going to be what Arkansas looked like with KJ Jefferson. That's how he's going to use Sellers. I imagine that it's going to look a whole lot like that, which I think is an upgrade. Offense I thought was pretty awful at times the last couple of years. Didn't really seem like they knew what they were doing half the time. And a lot of it was just an awful offensive line. So, look, if they get an offensive line, if they can protect Sellers, like Briles is good enough to scheme some stuff up. They're going to go real fast. He will definitely use his legs. It's an upgrade. I think they've got solid pieces on the defensive side of the ball, too. That's what I was most impressed with looking at South Carolina last week was on defense. I think it's a pretty salty defense that they got. So that's going to be a really tough game. I mean, that's one I've got circled for Tennessee, which kind of worries me a little bit.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like you from a Tennessee perspective, we've got enough of a read on Josh Heupel to know that you can expect one of these weird road games they're going to play like they're in quicksand for whatever reason. Last year, it was the Mississippi Mistake contest. They emerged victorious in overtime against a Mississippi State team. They're just brutal. I mean, they were brutal, but we got through it in overtime, which is cool. And we avoided that fate last season. Hopefully, 2 years in a row, like Bino said, Tennessee's able to, because if you want to stay in a race, any kind of race, even a race for a good season, you can't lose to either Arkansas or South Carolina. W. Lynn, you're going to join. We'll get some calls in. It's all coming up. A high noon overtime. Lee's going to hang in here with us. It's all ahead. The great William Pattison in the Playbook. On the way next, followed by Dubsy and the crew. Peace!
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville. Fan Run Radio.
And here we go. Live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios, it's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio. With Garrett Armbrust, Brett Hollander, and Caleb DeBusk joining you, I'm William Pattison. We appreciate you listening along with us on this fine Monday from Knoxville, Tennessee. And we've got plenty to cover over the next 2 hours, including Danny White getting active on Twitter this weekend, responding to a fan that wants to see some more big-time matchups inside Neyland Stadium. Danny White says he's on the same page. We'll talk about that and what that means for Tennessee's scheduling in the future. We'll also discuss Tennessee's basketball schedule that has now officially been confirmed for the SEC season, opening up with Vanderbilt to begin the SEC slate. Should be an intriguing matchup, and there are a number of them on the list. We'll go down the entire list with you guys and discuss what we forecast for the basketball Vols in this upcoming season. We'll also tap into college football on the other side in hour 2, as Tennessee was tabbed as the 10th best offense in the SEC by On3's Crane & Co. Josh Heupel usually has one of the best offenses in the country, let alone the conference. We'll tell you if we agree with that 10th rated spot in the SEC for Josh Heupel's dazzling offense. Also, taking a look at those quarterback competitions around college football. Faison Brandon, George McIntyre, a big topic of conversation here in Knoxville. But elsewhere, there are a number of big-time battles going down. So we'll take a look at the Big 12, the SEC, and a couple of opponents that Tennessee will go up against this year as well. So plenty to discuss on that front. And we'll wrap it up with our final thoughts. Buck chimes in with the first YouTube chat. Afternoon, guys. Y'all wearing uniforms now? No, we are not. I guess we are just both color coordinated. I think Brett's got kind of the same type of blue on today, too. And Caleb, what kind of shirt do you have on?
I just got on a little PGA polo.
What color is it, though?
Oh, it's gray.
Gray? Okay. Because Buck thinks we're on the same. We're wearing uniforms now here on the Playbook.
I don't know. We could look into that.
Yeah.
And we are a team, though, Buck. I guess that's a good call out, though, to begin the show. We appreciate
like
you.
I guess I am the only one not
Yeah.
matching.
I guess, yeah.
Like the Sixers, Buck.
Yeah, the Sixers, yeah.
Don't need no fifth guy.
We appreciate you hanging out with us nonetheless on this Monday. Make sure if you're watching on YouTube to like and subscribe. Already using that comment section. Good stuff. But as we get ready for the college football season begin, it's pretty important that you are subscribed and locked in to Fan Run Radio, because not too far away from fall camp beginning, and then we'll really get things underway. So appreciate you listening along with us. Before we get into the rest of the show, let's welcome in the rest of the crew, beginning with Garrett. Garrett, how are you? How was the weekend?
Doing good. Good weekend. Went home, saw the family, saw some buddies, played golf with my dad yesterday. So just a good weekend. Excited to be back up here, though. And one less weekend to go until college football. So continuing to count down the days like it's a kid waiting for Christmas right now.
There you go. I like that. Brett, to you in the production room, how are you? How was the weekend?
It was pretty good. My wife's brother's in town with his family from across the pond. They live in London, so they're in town. And me and the daughter traveled up to Xavier University for ID soccer camp. So that's obviously in Cincinnati. So we were up in Cincinnati pretty much all day yesterday. So visiting the campus, playing a little soccer. So a little tired, but we're here and excited to talk about a lot of different things today. So looking forward to it.
Good stuff. Caleb, to you?
Yeah, good weekend for me. No, not super eventful sports-wise, but my sister and new brother-in-law moved out officially. They're heading up to Happy Valley. He's going to grad school up there. So big life change for me. She's moving out. I've lived with her my whole life, so it'll be interesting. But, yeah, excited to talk about today, and glad to say I'm now proudly a Philadelphia 76ers fan.
There we go. I think now two of you in the production room.
Just LeBron. I could care less about the Sixers.
Brett, who's your favorite Sixer of all time?
Favorite Sixer of all time?
LeBron now.
Mine's LeBron.
Yeah. Even though I hadn't played a dribble of basketball for him. I grew up with AI being on the Sixers and remember him, but it would have to be him. If not, it's going to be LeBron now, but AI going back through their history, I guess, would be kind of the guy that synonymous. And the last time they were in the NBA Finals, we were talking about before the show. So, it'll probably change here soon.
Favorite Sixer of all time? Jordan McRae played for the 76ers.
He did. Yeah, that's true.
Tobias Harris did. I told you guys about my unique jersey collection. I've got a Scotty Wilbekin Summer League Sixers preseason preseason jersey. Kelly Oubre, I always like Kelly Oubre too. He played for the Sixers.
Yeah, Dikembe Mutombo, I think, played for him.
My favorite as a Hawks fan is Ben Simmons in the 2021 NBA playoffs when he decided he would not shoot layups.
Yeah.
Something I soon to forget. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny that LeBron's getting called a ring chaser when the Sixers haven't made a final since 2001 and they haven't won one since, 83 or –
Call the ring doctor, man. You need a ring, call LeBron.
Exactly. That's what we were talking about earlier. If LeBron is able to pull it off, then,
he got the Cavs one. He got
another feather in the GOAT's cap.
Yeah, it really is.
Or another feather, or I don't know what. I'm trying to think.
He's got too many feathers right now.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get into our first things first topic. Well, I guess I will share what I did this week. I went to the Smoky Mountains and went and camped.
Really?
Camped on Saturday.
You camp?
I did.
I don't take you as a camper.
Well, I did it growing up, and I haven't done it in a while. I think it's been 12 years since I went camping, but I guess that is pretty significant. But
so you carried your own tent, bag, and everything, set it up?
Tent, bag, fire, all that. Went down. The Smokies do have some really cool, water to it.
Yeah.
So we didn't whitewater raft, but I just like getting in the water. I mean, it's freezing cold. It's probably like 30 degrees.
That's
so you got
outside, wasn't it?
It was 75 degrees.
Oh,
66 at night.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm. You got to kind of lock in mentally when you get in that water, though. It does get very chilly. I'd say it's probably like, I don't know, 40 degrees.
Wow. Okay.
It's cold.
Cold plunge.
Yes. But I like getting in there and just kind of going down the rapids a couple of times, and you got to kind of finagle your way through the rocks and everything, but it's fun.
So were you out with like cell phone service, everything?
No cell phone service.
Wow, okay. You were totally too.
I know.
You went Aaron Rodgers.
I know. Yeah. No ashwagandha on this trip, but it is a quick pivot. I'm on, and here's the thing. I am on my phone all day, but it's a part of the job.
Right.
I have to be to keep up with everything.
Yeah.
So it's like when my week and review comes up and it's like you spent 10 hours a day on your phone this week.
Yeah.
And now having to go for a whole 24 hours with no contact at all. Like I had a couple of texts that I didn't see until I'd already gotten there. I needed to reply back to people, but you can't reply. So I felt
when
bad.
You got back in service, it was just ding, 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 ding.
It was ding, ding, ding. But it was a fun trip. Glad we could do it.
Maybe a satellite phone next time.
Well, I know you got to try to connect to a satellite. So I was sitting out there for a minute, and my brother was like, "You look like an idiot." And then I asked the first thing, because it's a Elkmont Park, Elkmont kind of camp, Elkmont camp, I should say. And there you have to check in, get a spot.
Yeah.
So I asked, because I still had to make a post about something. I'd already made it, but I hadn't posted it out yet. So I walk in there. I go, "Do you guys have any Wi-Fi here I can connect to?"
Yeah.
And they go, "There's no Wi-Fi or internet connection within about 30 miles.
Wow.
And I was like, "Well, I guess we will
not.
not."
Have to wait.
Yeah. Okay. James Price says the water temperature is 67 to 70 degrees, not 40. I promise it was freezing. It is freezing. I'm talking about the water coming down from the top of the mountain. It's freezing.
Yeah.
60 to 70 degrees is like,
that's not like
I don't know.
warm.
70-degree water is pretty cold.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you jump in a lake and you think it's like cold, it's usually like 60, 65. Like if you're in like bath water, that feeling, that's like way warmer.
I mean, this is like you feel like you're throbbing type of cold.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, like we were at my buddy's pool the other day and we were like, this water's pretty warm, and it was like 95-degree water.
Maybe I overstepped on 40, but man, it was freezing.
Yeah, 40-degree water would. I don't know if you could last in 40-degree water very long.
Maybe 50. We'll settle at 50. Maybe I was.
Split the difference.
When I'm telling you that when you
they weren't there, they don't know.
Well, yeah, it's true. When you're inching your way in there from the mountain, I promise you, it's not 70 degrees. That's what Buck says. So now they're arguing about the temperature. Let's say it was 50, but when you walk in there, it's a full body shock. And you're throbbing if you come out of there and are still adjusting to it. Now, once you adjust to it, it's all good.
Right.
But man, when you first get in there, whoo, man.
and moving around in cold water is worse, because like if you've ever done a cold plunge, if you just sit still, it's kind of okay. But the second you start moving around is when it gets freezing.
Yeah. So, and it was 75 degrees outside. So it's not one like it was 90 degrees and that was heating it up or anything. So anyway, but it was a good time. Let's get into our first things first topic, and that is Danny White talking future opponents for Tennessee football as the SEC will embark on a new path this fall, opening up that 9-game conference schedule for all 16 teams in the conference. And it doesn't take a very smart person to figure out that 9 cannot be exactly split into 2 and have it even. You can't have 5 games, that'd be 10, 4 games, that'd be 8. So you have 4 home games one season, 5 home games the other season. So obviously there are going to be other years where you have more matchups inside Neyland Stadium than others. So a fan online presented an idea and added Danny White, saying, in the years that Tennessee has 4 home games scheduled for the SEC opponents, they should schedule a home-and-home series with a Power 4 opponent and have that game played at home to make it, even. 5 big games in Neyland Stadium every year. And Danny White said, quote, that's exactly our plan. And I really love that because, look, as we know, Tennessee tickets continue to skyrocket. The waiting list, whether some believe it or not, continues to rise in terms of the number of people looking to get season tickets. The demand is rising, but people also want to go to big games. Sure, you can get Furman and New Mexico and all of that, and that allows some fans to be able to watch this team play at a little bit of a discounted price, but Alabama, LSU, Texas, those games are going to be expensive. And if you want a really good seat, you're probably spending a vacation's worth of money just to get into the stadium. So in the years that you don't have 5 SEC home games, season ticket holders might feel like, well, I'm kind of getting a little bit slighted. Why am I paying the same price I did last year when I don't have the same amount of good games or quality opponents? And I think that's a great idea that was proposed. And I'd like to hear that Danny White is also on board with that because let's just say hypothetically this year, and I know you have a number of home games, but let's say in the year you had 4 games and it was this year, you would have Georgia Tech coming to Neyland Stadium. That's an early season matchup with a lot of intrigue. Any other year, let's say it's a 4-game schedule and you invite USC into town. That's as big as an Alabama, as big as an LSU, just in terms of the brand and the team coming in. So I think that's a great idea and a great way to keep those season ticket holders happy and ones that also want to come in town for a big game. You still have those opportunities. So really like to hear that. And we'll kind of talk about some of those teams we might want to see in Neyland Stadium here in a moment. But Garrett, to you, what do you make of what Danny White came out and said? Yeah, that's the plan, to have another power game in that 4-game schedule 4 home game schedule for the SEC.
Yeah, I mean, you have to now with the new rule of having to play a power conference opponent outside of your 9-game conference schedule that you have to have. So, I mean, obviously it's expected, but I think it's good for college football. I like it when you play those games early in the season and non-con play before you get into conference play in week 4. I think they're exciting games. I like that we're playing Georgia Tech. I think it gives students and fans the opportunity to go see a new college town and then return the trip back to your home stadium the next year. If you can go down and watch Georgia Tech, Tennessee, and Atlanta this year, and the Georgia Tech fans from Atlanta can come up to Knoxville next year and watch us play in Neyland. And then we have the home and home in 29-30 with Washington. So Washington fans can come to Tennessee. If you want to travel across the country to a great stadium out in Seattle, you can go to the Tennessee-Washington game at 2030. So I think those are good games. I know 2028 we play West Virginia and like the Duke Mayo Classic in Charlotte, which I'm not a big fan of those because I'd rather keep games on campus. I don't like neutral site games. I think it ruins it for the fans. It ruins it for the students. The students are getting one last home game. And I just think if you're going to go to an away game, do it in a college town. It just makes it better. There's so many things that you get in a college town that you don't get in downtown Charlotte. So I like the home and homes, and I really think you should have one scheduled every year. I just think it makes college football better. And even if it's a really good G5 team, a Boise State or somebody like that, I think it's fun for those fan bases, obviously, too. So just schedule somebody good. And then obviously if you have a 9-game schedule of SEC play, I mean, you're going through a gauntlet playing 10 Power 4, conference teams throughout the season.
Now, let me ask you, though, it costs Texas a playoff spot, though, right?
Sure.
Like playing Ohio State. Like, yeah, we love to see it, but now they should have beat Florida and things like that. So you got to win the games you should win, So, but I'm saying they did schedule that hard game, but we loved it, right? And like, this is, me, I'm a big proponent of playing, especially more so in basketball. But yeah, I mean, this is what you want to see. I think Danny wants to do it because he's got his district coming soon too. Like He wants all these fans from big schools. You're going to get more fans the bigger the school because they can afford to come to these venues and things like that. So this has potential to be really good. And like Garrett said, you've got a quality opponent in Washington who, is a quality football team. And I think that would be pretty cool to have them come to Knoxville and us vice versa. You know, the two schools on the waterfronts and things like that. So this is great that Danny's all in for this, because you see so many schools backing out of type of games like this. So to have him say, yeah, bring it on, you know, I think it, you know, puts pressure on Heupel to continue our program at a high level to where hopefully the other team will come and do it as well. So I think this is awesome. And, you know, I appreciate Danny, you know, giving us our money's worth. You know, I don't personally do it, but, you know, I know you guys do it and things like that. So I know you guys want to pay for pay for all the quality you can get with those tickets you spend on.
Caleb?
Yeah, I've always loved playing these like non-conference type opponents, and I like, as much as it's like probably in the long run not, I mean, when you ask head coaches, they'd probably rather play a bunch of Furmans and Kennesaw States, but it's really fun for the average fan, especially if you're like, it's going to be pretty difficult logistically to line these up every single year, to where every year that we have 4 home games SEC wise, we're going to have a Power 4 home game, because scheduling home and homes, it gets really complicated with stuff like that. I mean, we're dealing with stuff like, oh, we're in Charlotte this year, but we're doing a home and home this year. Like, and I know it lined up this year with Georgia Tech, where next year it's going to be 4 SEC home games. And then I think have they announced what the Washington home and home is yet? If it's going to be Neyland first, then Washington?
I think it's Neyland and then
first.
and then you return to Seattle in 30.
Okay, yeah. So that works out.
I think you
that
even
way.
opened the season with it, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're going to have to play these in the first 3 weeks, because they've pretty much essentially got rid of that week, I guess 12 or whatever it is, where you play. That's not going to exist anymore. You're going to be playing SEC games the last 9 out of 10 weeks of the season with your bye week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it, and it's probably, now again, it's Power 4 opponents, but it's probably going to be like a Georgia Tech or a Washington, where it is a Power 4 opponent, but they're probably on the tier of like maybe a Mississippi State or something of another conference. But I mean, Washington was in a national championship game not too long ago, so it's big name opponents that you're playing, whether or not they're living up to their big name at that time. I think that's probably a better way to go about it. Play those teams that have really big brand recognition, but maybe aren't playing the best football at the time. Now, when you schedule them 10 years out in advance, it's pretty difficult to like forecast where they're going to be as a football program at that point. But yeah, I mean, playing a team like a Houston or like an SMU, like those would be great home and home games to have.
Yeah, and Buck on the YouTube chat has a pretty cool suggestion here, and I like it. How about a Big Ten SEC challenge type deal? And I'm just thinking here while you guys were discussing, what if college football just delved into this completely and saying, all right, this year the ACC and Big 12 will be paired up. The SEC and the Big 10 will be paired up. And then you could even do it to the G5 conferences. The American plays the Sun Belt and whatever it may be. Now, I know there are different numbers of teams within each conference, but for at least the SEC and the Big 10, you could do that. And, for the weaker Big Ten teams, they got to figure it out. Maybe they play Wofford instead. But I think that'd be really cool. Just kind of have like a challenge week, like week 3 before you get into the bulk of your SEC season. It's challenge week, the Big Ten versus the SEC, the ACC versus the Big 12. And then you could kind of maybe settle some of those debates that a lot of people have. Which 100%. Conference is better?
Yeah, I hate the whole they use bowl games. Like, Brett Bielema has been a demon on Twitter the last couple of weeks. Like, I do not like these guys act like bowl games are like middle regular season tip top shape teams that you're playing. Like if we would have played Illinois in week 7, we would have mopped the field up with them. Like I don't understand. Like they're using bowl games as these like end all be all, like that is the pinnacle of your team kind of situations, and it's just not the case. I think the Big Ten would be pretty disappointed if we had a SEC Big Ten challenge, because obviously you'd get like
not if their best teams beat us though.
Well, I mean, obviously like an Indiana and a Georgia, or like an Ohio State and a Alabama or something like that. Those are going to be tough games that the Big Ten probably has a better team in. Mm-hmm. But then when you get down to like Mississippi State versus Maryland, or Arkansas versus Rutgers, or even Kentucky or Purdue, like the bottom half of the SEC sweeps the bottom half of the Big Ten. And
I think those would be the intriguing games.
Yeah,
though,
I think they would, if they did this year, they'd bring Nico into Neyland.
Like Mississippi State, Minnesota is going to be a good game. I mean, there's a lot of future first round draft picks possible. Anthony Smith, he's the edge rusher for Minnesota. He had 12 sacks last season. Darius Taylor is a really good running back.
Mhm.
Obviously, you have Kamario Taylor. Drake Lindsey is getting really good draft reports. The corner on Mississippi State, he's a projected first-round draft pick. Like, even those teams that aren't, like, contenders in their conference, like, that's still a great game.
Yeah, like I think even Arkansas, a team who won 2 games last year, I think they would fare pretty well against most of the bottom half of the Big Ten.
Arkansas versus Rutgers. Arkansas would probably be a 14-point favorite. Well, I don't know. We'll see. But I mean, I do like the concept.
They have
though.
more teams though, right?
They do. They have 18
So
compared
they would
to
have to
SEC
sit
Well, I
16.
mean,
out.
you saw just last. Was it last? I don't know if it was. I think it was last year. It might have been the year before. One of the best teams in the Big 12 goes down to Starkville and loses to the worst team in the SEC, second worst team in the SEC. Like, it's just like people hate it because it's drawn out and they've heard it for 25 years about how good the SEC is and about how much better it is than everybody else. But it's. I mean, people talk about it because it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, right now the Big Ten I think is a better conference because if you look at the top half of the Big Ten. It like everybody says, oh, well, top to bottom. I think if you kind of have to look at the best teams. I mean, they've had the last three national titles by all different teams. The SEC hasn't done that. Like, I don't remember the last time the SEC did that. We've won straight national titles, but it's not been all 3 different teams. It might have maybe the LSU. Was it like Georgia, LSU, Alabama?
Well, I mean, for the longest time, you just kind of went back and forth to where if it were, it was Alabama, LSU. If you go later down the road, it was Florida and Auburn. I mean, you had a number of teams winning it. But
it's going to take a long time for the Big Ten has to sustain this for about 30 years to be able to compare themselves to the SEC, I think.
Yeah, but they like the comparisons how they currently are. But here's my thing. I mean, I think last year Texas versus Florida was a prime example of why the SEC is a much stronger conference from top to bottom. Florida was a horrible football team in the standard in terms of how they were viewed by the rest of college football. Now, it doesn't mean much, but I thought they were one of the best 4-8, 5-7 college football teams we've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were a good team. Defensively, they had a number of good players. Offensively, against Texas, they were on full display. But the problem is you have bad coaching and you lose a couple of games situationally, your record will be what it was. But Rutgers isn't doing that to an Ohio State, or Rutgers isn't doing that to a USC or, Purdue, whatever it may be. Like the bottom feeders in that conference, like when Maryland, Michigan State, teams like that, they were a little bit towards the more middle population of the Big Ten. When they played Ohio State and when they played Oregon and those teams, it wasn't close. So I just think, top to bottom, the SEC is the stronger conference. It's a better group. The top teams in the Big Ten have won more recently than the SEC. But I at least think this year, Texas has no excuse not to win a national championship. Kirby Smart's starting to kind of feel some pressure by not being able to do anything in the postseason. I don't think Alabama's at the same standard after Nick Saban, but you still have really good teams that are going to be competitive. I mean, we'll see about Ole Miss. We'll see about Oklahoma. LSU is going to be on the upward trajectory under Lane Kiffin, you assume. I think the SEC has the opportunity to get back in the saddle and take over. But I do think that would be a really cool idea, having kind of conference challenges weeks.
Who'd we play?
Who would Tennessee play? Well, I think Brett had a good suggestion.
Who's that?
If
you were doing it this year,
if it's SEC Big Ten, bring UCLA into town.
I don't know. I just feel like UCLA is not good enough.
We'd probably play like
we've played them in the past.
If it was like to our conference, that we'd probably play like in Iowa.
Yeah,
somebody like that, someone that you would play in, a Big Ten SEC bowl game,
an Illinois rematch.
I think some of those Big Ten games though would be interesting against the SEC, even if the SEC is the better team, because the Big Ten puts such an emphasis on like line of scrimmage because a lot of these teams don't pass the ball that. I mean, you can't have an air raid offense at Wisconsin in November. That's just not what they do. And so I think it would be interesting if like in Iowa played, somebody else and they have these 8-9 minute drives down the field where they run the ball and don't really throw it much. And they're just giving the ball to Kamari Moulton.
We've played Iowa so many times.
No, I know, but I'm just saying like, I'm just saying that the offenses from the SEC to the Big Ten are different. Like they do play a little bit different styles of football that matchup wise, it could be a little bit interesting.
Yeah.
Minnesota finished 8th last year in their conference. We finished 8th in the SEC. If you just matched it up 1-1, 2-2, if you went down that route, but I'm bringing Notre Dame back to Neyland.
Notre Dame?
I want to go to Notre Dame.
Notre Dame's a cool spot.
I'd rather that's who I want to see us play again.
I think USC would be my vote. I think just
that's a good matchup.
A team that Tennessee has never traditionally played, and Notre Dame's not one either. There are a number of options.
Yeah,
but I just like kind of having a team or having to travel somewhere on the other side of the map. Right? Notre Dame would be awesome. Though. USC
LA,
would be my vote, though. Huh?
You just want to go to LA.
Well, no, I just like seeing. I mean, I think Washington's really cool.
Washington's awesome.
That's a good
Are y'all going to go to that?
That's a long way down the calendar for me. I kind of operate on a weekly basis at this point.
As long as we keep the game too, you never know what can happen.
Yeah, exactly.
True. I mean, who was it that backed out? We had Nebraska.
Yeah.
We have BYU on the schedule too, didn't we? Again,
yeah. We did.
Yeah. And you played BYU back in 20.
Don't remind me, please.
Yeah.
Do you have a team, Garrett?
The three that kind of came to mind for me would be what?
A group of five?
No, I mean
Marshall.
Nebraska would be one for me, just because I
Okay.
think that their fans travel really good. I think they're kind of similar to Tennessee, and that like Tennessee fans will travel anywhere for
I
a
have
game.
a history with them too.
I think Nebraska, yeah. I think Florida State, when they're playing good, would be fun.
Like that.
Obviously, you played against them in the national championship and beat them. And I think a home and home against Clemson would be fun if they're good. It's not,
like
that far away from, South Carolina to Tennessee. I think those
that.
three schools for me would kind of jump out.
Yeah, I kind of wish we had played Clemson a little bit more than just that one time in the bowl game.
Yeah. Any suggestions from you, Brett?
I
said Notre Dame.
I'd like the Notre
Caleb?
Dame one.
I like playing a team like a Houston or like maybe like a Louisville. Like those would be fun teams for
Sure.
me if we did like an ACC or like a Big 12 matchup.
Mhm.
Those would be fun.
I think Utah would be fun too. I thought
Yeah.
that Florida Utah home and home they did was pretty fun.
Yeah.
What was that?
Indiana
like
now?
21 and 22.
Let's keep Indiana.
Signetti.
We'll talk to Indiana
Texas Tech?
a little bit later.
Maybe in North Carolina.
Yeah, Texas Tech. There you go. I like Texas Tech. I think USC, Florida State, Notre Dame. I think all those would be really cool.
Is it cool to have them come here? And I mean, I guess
Both.
it's obviously cool to go.
But like
play
going to
South
USC
Bend.
and playing the Coliseum, I think would
Yeah.
be really cool. Going to South Bend and playing.
I just remember when Georgia played Notre Dame under the lights a couple years ago. It was awesome.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
kind of like the beginning of Georgia, like starting their run. That was like
Yeah.
kind of the
It was
beginning
just
because that was like
elite.
2018, I think.
Yeah,
2019.
that was like one of the most hyped home games I think I've ever seen.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
was elite.
I think the best ones that we've had recently, honestly, was Oklahoma pre-joining the SEC because I really liked their fan base, and I thought, when they were in the Big 12, that was a really good
electric
home and
here.
home. Oh yeah, it was a great game.
I still watch that Admiral Schofield hype video from that game.
Yeah. Yeah. Nailing loud. It was loud until it was quiet.
And just like that, I'm back on Danny.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, Brett's back.
Well,
Start off the Monday on the right note.
Yeah,
We
thank
could get
you,
our
Danny.
get back against Oregon too.
Yeah, Oregon I thought was really cool,
yeah.
but I guess I just remember that so vividly growing up that I want another Pac-12 school or former Pac-12 school like that. So Buck says real quick, Arizona State, Colorado, Nebraska would be his three.
I think Colorado would be a fun one. Colorado's got a good history.
They do.
I mean,
We
obviously,
have a history with them. Yeah.
say what you want
A little
about what they're doing right now, but I mean, they're a proud program.
Yeah, just put out a Heisman Trophy winner, Travis Hunter. Now plays for the
They almost
Jaguars.
won the Alamo Bowl.
Yeah, they almost won. They got smacked by BYU if I remember correctly. Is that right?
That is unfortunately correct. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. When we come back on the other side, we're going to flip the scheduling conversation to the hardwood. Tennessee basketball has released its SEC slate for the upcoming season. We'll take a look at that. Stay right here. It's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio.
For the fans, by the fans. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
What kind of day is it? It's a White Claw day. Grab a pack, grab your friends. Everything else in life can wait. Your friends shouldn't. Let's go. White Claw. Grab life by the claw. Please drink responsibly. Hard seltzer with flavors. White Claw Seltzer Works, Chicago, Illinois.
Vol fans, reimagine your home at Broadway Carpets and Flooring for any remodeling or building needs. With a variety of carpets, rugs, hardwood, vinyl, and stone, Broadway has all the flooring and installation options you're looking for, including pet-resistant products like Pet Perfect Carpet from Shaw Floors. Visit their showroom in downtown Knoxville or the location in West Knoxville located on Kingston Pike near Pellissippi Parkway today.
A brand built in Tennessee and born from the love of the game, Inward Half revolutionizes golfing comfort, Crafted by a former pro and dedicated enthusiast just like you, our luxury performance wear guarantees you stay cool and comfortable through every swing and every day. We're not just a brand. We've set out to create a lifestyle for those who understand that impeccable style and premium performance are a hole-in-one. Enjoy the walk-in with Inward Half.
Join us for the third annual Fan Run Night at the Smokies, Thursday, August 13th at Covenant Health Park. Come hang out with the Fan Run crew and arrive early to pick up some swag as we watch the Smokies take on the Rocket City Trash Pandas on a thirsty Thursday, featuring half-price draft beers all night long. It's the third annual Fan Run Night with the Smokies, Thursday, August 13th. Listen to Fan Run Radio for details on how to score free tickets.
Your tax refund belongs to you, not an identity thief. Over $6 billion in tax refunds were flagged by the IRS for possible identity theft last year. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. They monitor and alert you to identity threats you'd miss on your own, even if you're careful with your personal information. And if you do become a victim of tax-related identity fraud, LifeLock has U.S.-based restoration specialists ready to help solve your identity theft issue. Plus, all LifeLock plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, meaning LifeLock will reimburse you up to the limits of your plan if you lose money due to identity theft. Let LifeLock help protect your financial info, so all you have to worry about is what you do with your tax refund. Go to LifeLock.com, save up to 25% off your first year. The promo code is HERD, promo code HERD, to save up to 25% off your first year. LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here.
All right, here on the Playbook, we appreciate you hanging out with us on this fine Monday from Knoxville, Tennessee. Couple of reminders for you Knoxville Smoky fans out there. Fan Run Night returns for the third straight year in a row, and that's going to be on August 13th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That's Thursday, August 13th. Smokies will be taking on the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And we will be there once again. Arrive early to get some free commemorative merch. And I'm sure we'll have a number of other festivities going on. The last couple of times we've had some first pitches. John threw out the first pitch 2 years ago. One of the worst first pitches you'll ever see. Cody was able to get it to the plate last year. I wonder who gets to throw it this year. I wonder maybe Russ gets up on the plate. Maybe Bob zips one. I don't know. We'll have to see. I would not turn it down if I were asked to do it, I will say. And then also, there's a lot of kind of in-game festivities as well.
Now, John threw from the mound, though, right? Is that my understanding? And Cody did not.
Well, I don't remember it like that. I just remember John's was really bad and Cody's was much better. That's the way I remember it.
Okay.
Catcher.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, I'd zip it. It'd be 90 miles an hour, middle of the mitt.
I know you're not a big baseball guy, so I didn't know if you felt like the arm talent was there with the baseball in the hand.
I haven't pitched since 5th grade, so I'd kind of have to maybe loosen up the arm a little bit. But
it's a little different than throwing a football, I will say.
Yeah.
I never threw a pitch.
Yeah.
Played center field. I never
I will say Nate Snead, former Vol, plays for the Trash Pandas.
Really?
Well. So I just looked it up because I remember Christian Moore.
Simo used to play for him. He's now in Salt Lake.
But yeah, Nate Snead, Rocket City Trash Pandas.
Cool.
So
yeah.
He'll be out there.
Well, maybe I get some pointers from him.
There you go.
I went to one of the Smokies games a couple years ago when he played for the Trash Pandas.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Yeah, the Knoxville Smokies is really cool. Having them in the town now. I think I know a lot of people were very dear in heart to Kodak.
Yeah,
and that was a really cool venue, cool spot. But I think for most people that went to those games, you'd have to drive to go do that. And I know a lot of people in Kodak really coveted it, but having it in the heart of Knoxville, I think, is cool. Mm-hmm. And very nice venue. Covenant Health Park, they did such a great job with that. We're so excited to be able to do it 3 years in a row now.
Helps the local businesses around there
for
too.
sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
No doubt.
It's really nice over there. Like it used to, not gonna lie, it used to be pretty dumpy over there.
Yeah.
That whole under the overpass, because I used to work over there in the old city at a restaurant down there. So we used to park under that overpass.
Mm-hmm.
And it used to be just dumpy. But now they like redid that whole area. The new stadium over there, put ton of new roads and stuff over there, and the new hotels too.
Yeah,
not hotels, the apartments, the 2 new apartment complexes they put right there. It's really like livened up that area over there.
Yeah, I know a couple of people that live in that apartment complex. It is worth a pretty penny if you want to do it, but I think it's a cool venue, and they're adding to it too. I think they're putting in 3 or 4 new restaurants or eateries below. I can't remember. It might be called the Davy. It might be called. Anyway, regardless, they're putting in some new eatery spots. I go by on my walk every day, and it's a cool spot. We're so excited to go back. So again, that's Thursday, August 13th. Smokies taking on the Rocket City Trash Pandas. Will be there. Arrive early to get your fan run swag. I'm sure there'll be a first pitch. Ton of action. That's August 13th, 7 p.m. Eastern time on. Oh, hold on. I was about to say it was like on ESPN or something. I guess I'm so accustomed to that, but it will be in front of you, not on any television. But yeah, would love to see you guys out there. Always enjoy doing that. And then a couple of days later, it's Tennessee night. On that Saturday, August 15th, they're doing a Deshaun Bishop bobblehead giveaway.
That's right.
First 1,000 fans get one. And also, keep in mind, Thirsty Thursday in action when we're there, half-price draft beers. So don't drive there, but, get an Uber or have someone drop you off. Have a good time. So a lot of reasons to go. We're excited about it. We'll be promoing that over the next couple of weeks. But let's get back into our action as the SEC basketball schedule was released today, and the Southeastern Conference announced this for all 16 teams ahead of the 2026-27 season. And Tennessee obviously coming off their 3rd straight Elite 8 appearance and a 5th consecutive AP Top 20 finish. Volunteers will play 18 conference contests between January 2nd and March 7th. And Tennessee's SEC slate features 10 Saturday affairs and 8 midweek outings. And for the first time since the 1991-1992 season, Tennessee will begin its conference schedule with an in-state showdown against Vanderbilt, with action set for January 2nd at Food City Center. The Volunteers' SEC road opener comes on January 5th or 6th against Auburn at Neville Arena in Auburn, Alabama. So a quick trip to the jungle, and then they'll head to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where they'll take on LSU at the Pete Maravich Assembly Center in a January 9th contest. So that's the early portion of the schedule to get things kicked off. Vanderbilt at home, and then 2 road trips to take on Tigers. Auburn on a Tuesday or Wednesday, and then you've got LSU on a Saturday. Garrett, what do you make of opening things up against Vanderbilt to begin the SEC slate?
Yeah, definitely an odd game. A rivalry game that you usually see at the end of the season, not at the beginning. But I think it's a good tone setter for your season. Obviously, they'll have Tyler Tanner back. They do lose, some pieces, but I think they'll still be a decent team. So getting them at home's good, and then going to Auburn. They're not in as good a spot as they have been over the last few years, but still, anytime you're going to one of the better environments in college basketball, that's going to be a tough game. So I think it's good that you open up at home before going on the road to play an Auburn team that, even though they're probably going to be projected, middle tier of the SEC, that's still one of the more difficult environments to play, and definitely in the SEC, if not even the entire country.
Yeah, you wish Tyler Tanner might be donning a different uniform in this matchup, but he decided to stay with the Commodores. And as you mentioned, Auburn, a little bit of a different team than they have been in years past. LSU, we're about to figure out if they can even field a team. They've only got like 6 guys on the roster currently. Yeah. So,
and they all played professional basketball pretty much.
Yeah, they got a lot of work to be done. But up next for Tennessee is a pair of home games after returning from Baton Rouge. First on January 12th or 13th versus Missouri. First time Tennessee will get to see Jalen Carey, a former Volunteer, in action. And then the second of the two home matchups, January 16th, John Calipari and company come into town, and it's Arkansas for a Saturday matchup. Really good Saturday game right there. Volunteers will then have a bye, which comes after their 5th SEC contest for the 2nd year in a row. So a little bit of a break. And just you look at the coaches on that list. I mean, you start up against a really good group and Mark Byington at Vanderbilt, and then Stephen Pearl, it is what it is. Will Wade, he's a guy that's proven he can coach. Missouri's done a great job, but then you got John Calipari. You got a couple of the conference's best coaches right off the bat, and before that bye week. But that January 16th matchup against Arkansas should be a fun one. Probably the best game of that early slate for the Volunteers. Brett, what do you make of that starting five, those first 5 games for the conference schedule for the Vols?
Yeah. I took it a step further. I just went down, at Arkansas at home, and then away to Lexington or Kentucky. Looks like you have that week off that's a team always gets. So it's kind of nice to have that between, two teams are going to be competing for in the top 4 of the conference all season long. You got to figure, but it's definitely manageable. I mean, I think you get your tough 2 teams at home early on, and I think Missouri will be decent, but you get them at home. But then you probably get 2 of the bottom teams, I think, this year. They'll be competitive, but you think of the loaded SEC, they're probably going to be towards the bottom, and you get both of them early on the road. So I think this is a manageable first 5 games for Tennessee. I think this is a scenario where you should be 5-0 with the way Barnes is at home and things like that. So, I'm pretty optimistic about that first 5. I think it's very manageable for Tennessee to start off the season pretty strong.
Well, we'll continue through the schedule here. Head coach Rick Barnes and company, as Brett mentioned, will return to the court after a week off in Rupp Arena against Kentucky. That matchup scheduled for January 23rd with the Wildcats. Again, Arkansas, week off. Kentucky, good break for the Volunteers. But then that trip to Rupp is followed by a January 26th or 27th outing in College Station, Texas at Reed Arena against Bucky McMillan and company.
They got that big transfer.
P.J. Haggerty?
Yeah.
P.J. Haggerty. He'll be there, and that's going to be a tough place to play. That's a Tuesday night matchup where you've got to keep your eyes peeled, likely a late tip as well. So that's an intriguing matchup. And then Tennessee caps the first month of league play with a January 30th home game against Florida, and that should be a fun one. That should be a sellout crowd on a Saturday. I imagine that
just don't make it like noon or 2.
I imagine there'll be a later game if the 2 teams are good, and the way Florida sets up, it's going to be an impressive group. And then
100%.
After that, they'll get February started at Food City Center against Georgia. So that's going to be a midweek meeting. Danny White's brother, Mike White, comes into town, and that will be that Bulldogs group on February 2nd or 3rd. So at least what sticks out to me is going to be that stretch of Kentucky, then A&M, because even if
Florida
and Florida, yes, Kentucky, A&M, Florida.
That's definitely
if you go to Rupp and get a win, you got to quickly turn around and go play a really well-coached Texas A&M team, and then Florida, as we all know, going to be one of the best teams in the country. Caleb, what do you make of that kind of three-game punch for the Volunteers?
I mean, yeah, it's tough. I think we'll be favored in all 3 of them, though. Just looking at our schedule. I mean, just looking at our schedule up to this point, I don't think we're going to be underdogs in any of these games up to Georgia. Vanderbilt, again, like you said, Tyler Tanner. That's about pretty much all that they really return as far as like major production. Auburn, I don't like. Stephen Pearl's a joke in my mind. I think that whole circus that went on when Bruce left, I think that Bruce kind of screwed that team over, letting Stephen have it. LSU, Will Wade's a joke in my mind as well. I don't think much of LSU as a basketball program at all. I've not really seen much of them since Ben Simmons was there in my mind, as far as like being nervous about playing an LSU team. And then Arkansas going to be really tough, but we get them at home, so that's going to be a good one. And then obviously when you go to Rupp Arena, anytime you go to Rupp Arena, it's tough. But I think just the way the schedule shakes out, I think it shakes out in a really positive way for us. I think top to bottom, we're only going to be an underdog in one of these games, potentially. That being Texas, just with how good of a team they have talent-wise. I don't know how good of a team they'll actually be, just because a lot of teams you can have a really good team on paper, but not be the greatest team when it comes to actually playing basketball. So,
yeah, I don't know if I would necessarily say Tennessee's not going to be an underdog in all these games just yet. I mean, I think Kentucky on the road. I think you'll be an underdog.
You'd probably be an underdog, possible. I mean,
against Florida.
I was even going to say maybe A&M might be close to a pick 'em.
Yeah, a couple of interesting spots, most certainly. And kind of progressing through that schedule. So again, February 2nd or 3rd, you host Georgia, and then you get back on the road. You go to Columbia, Missouri to play their second contest against the Tigers, with action slated for February 6th at Mizzou Arena. That'll be your second opportunity to see Jalen Carey. And I figure at least in one of these games, he's going to have some sort of a big outing. It's just how it goes for Tennessee people, right? The former player who kind of struggled most of his career. Jalen Carey wasn't a bad player, but man, he struggled with those layups. I bet he goes 7 for 7 on layups in at least one of these matchups.
And it's not even that. It's just every time we play a team, it feels like one of their players just has the game of their career.
Well, that was the case for Missouri last year.
He was killing us at Vandy.
Yeah.
I remember him. He's big time, double-doubles.
Well, after that trip to Mizzou, they will head to Norman, Oklahoma to complete their third back-to-back road pairing with the SEC slate's first 11 games as they meet Oklahoma in a February 9th or 10th affair at Lloyd Noble Center. And then Tennessee's second meeting with Kentucky comes February 13th at Food City Center. That will be a Saturday, and that precedes a trip to play Ole Miss in Oxford, where Barnes' team takes the hardwood on February 16th or 17th. Obviously, the last time Tennessee traveled to Oxford, it was an upset loss late in the season. And then up next for the Volunteers is their final back-to-back home set of the season, which begins with a February 20th outing against Alabama, which visits Knoxville for the 5th year in a row. And the team has a February 23rd meeting that is the only midweek date already scheduled. That's going to be South Carolina at Food City Center. And the Gamecocks obviously had a number of changes this offseason. And then they'll wrap it up in the month of February in Austin, Texas at the Moody Center against the Longhorns. And that's going to be a pretty good team under Sean Miller. They did a good job in the portal. Then it returns home to host Mississippi State in a March 2nd or 3rd game that will conclude the Food City Center schedule for the 2026-27 season. And to wrap up that regular season, Tennessee heads to the state capital, to take on Vanderbilt and the Commodores at Memorial Gymnasium in Nashville, a game that could have SEC seeding implications and as well as the NCAA tournament. So sets up for a very interesting matchup. It'll be the second year in a row the sides face off in the conference finale after not doing so before since 2011 and 2012, that season. So really interesting slate, really intriguing spots for Tennessee. Again, I look at that Kentucky, Texas A&M, Florida three-way stretch, and then I look at that game against Vanderbilt at the end of the season. That one could have a lot of implications involved with it. So an intriguing slate. We'll continue discussing it on the other side. Let everyone else weigh in. Stay right here. It's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio.
Catch up with all things Fan Run by subscribing to our podcast feed. Like, rate, and download the show from the Fan Run app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Smoky Mountain Brewery is the place to be for game day. From the moment you walk in, it's wall-to-wall big screens, making Smoky Mountain Brewery the perfect place to watch the Vols or your favorite team in action. With locations in Turkey Creek, Maryville, Pigeon Forge, and Gatlinburg, you're never far away from a great time at Smoky Mountain Brewery. Try one of their world-famous microbrews like Black Bear Ale, Mountain Light, or Cherokee Ale. Juicy burgers, wings that bring the heat, and delicious handmade pizzas made with hand-tossed crust from the freshest ingredients and their own special sauce from a secret recipe, topped off with hand-grated cheese and farm-fresh toppings. And don't forget, those famous microbrews are also available in kegs for your next party or in 6-packs and growlers to go. So grab your crew and head to Smoky Mountain Brewery and tell them Fan Run Radio sent you. Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jacob Wilco at Knoxville Smiles. Have you ever wanted to improve the look of your smile? We know firsthand what the power of a great smile means to a person's confidence and health. Our team of doctors can provide you with an array of options for helping you achieve your cosmetic goals. From simply moving teeth into a better position, to reversible cosmetic bonding, to full mouth implant-supported dentures. It is our goal to help patients feel good about their appearance while achieving optimal health. Want to learn more? Call us at 865-539-1776 to schedule an evaluation or visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com.
Welcome to Axle Logistics, where excellence isn't just a goal, it's an energy. As a leading third-party logistics company, Axle is powered by an award-winning culture built on a work hard, play hard mentality. Here, the drive for success is contagious and hard work never goes unnoticed. Whether you're just starting out or looking to level up, Axle Logistics is the place to launch your career. Join us and take your ambition to the stars. To learn more, visit axlelogistics.com.
All right, back here on the Playbook. We appreciate you hanging out with us, continuing the conversation on the new schedule for Tennessee basketball this upcoming season, SEC schedule, that is. And we just went down the complete list, kind of game by game, trio by trio. SEC is going to be competitive. You know that. We know that. But I think for the Volunteers, you get a couple of breaks in a couple of spots, especially Arkansas. That's going to be one of your bigger games of the season in terms of postseason implications, seeding implications. You get an entire week before you head to Rupp Arena, which is likely your most intense road matchup of the season. So one of your bigger games, having a break, and then going on the road. I like how that sets up. And then after that after that week stretch, you have Kentucky, Texas A&M, Florida. So that's then bundled up. So I think it pairs well that Tennessee has that break, but you got to get quick back into gear because you got two really tough road matchups in Rupp and also Reed Arena, and then you welcome in the Gators, and that's a team that you anticipate is going to be a highly ranked team coming in Knoxville, so should be really fun. And then I look at that Vanderbilt matchup to begin and end the season. Those are really intriguing because you got to get off on the right foot, especially if you're going to host the Commodores. Got to get out into the 1-0 category to begin the season, especially with all the expectations. But at the end of the year, that could be where, that could be a game where you're kind of teetering between a 4 and a 5 seed or a 3 and a 4, whatever it may be. Could have some big postseason implications. Garrett, what game or what stretch specifically sticks out to you the most?
I think that late January, Kentucky, A&M, Florida, especially when you play two road games in 1 week, within 4 days of each other. You got to go 1-1 in that stretch. Obviously, you get Florida at home. I think you can beat Florida at home, but Florida's obviously good enough to beat you. I mean, that's a stretch. You can't go 0-3 in that stretch. If you go 1-2, it's not like detrimental. If you go 2-1, you feel like you played really well. I think it would be almost impossible to go 3-0 in that stretch, but you just got to make sure you don't get behind the 8 ball in the standings during that stretch because, Tennessee over the past couple of years has started conference play, not as good as they'd like and kind of worked their way back in the last month of the season. And I think this is a schedule you could do that again. But, I mean, if you really want to contend to win the SEC because you feel like you're one of the top 4 teams in the conference, you just got to get through that stretch. Not playing Alabama twice is interesting. I don't remember the last time we didn't play them twice. You always seem to play a home and home against them, so getting them once is nice. But again, I feel like it kind of sucks that you get Vanderbilt, Missouri, and Arkansas before the students come back because I think you have one of the better student environments for a student section in the SEC, and you have 3 pretty important games early in the schedule that, I mean, the atmosphere will still be good, but not as good as if the students were there. So that happened last year. You had a couple pivotal matchups before students came back on campus, and I mean, that's just what happens when your school starts back in late January, later than other schools, and conference play starts at the beginning of the year. But it just seems like we unfortunately get some big games at home before the students come back.
Yeah, guys, real quick, any thoughts, anything that sticks out immediately to you?
Well, the first thing that sticks out to me is that our toughest game is going to be hardest game on our schedule is going to be before conference play even starts. That's going to be Michigan State. And then like the Kentucky A&M Florida stretch is pretty tough to me, but I mean, I don't see how I see 3-0 here as a real possibility. I mean, if we're with this roster, we should not be an underdog at home to anybody. I don't care if we're playing the number 1 team in the country. Like if we're with this team that we have and what we're projecting and hoping to be this year, we should not be an underdog at home against anybody. And then A&M, not super high on A&M this year. I think they're a well-coached, going to be a good team. It's going to be a tough road matchup, but I think we'll be a decent favorite in that game because, I mean, just looking at the odds on FanDuel, I mean, they're plus 6,500 to win the national title. We're plus 2,200. So, I mean, just the numbers alone there is enough for me, but then just looking more deep into it, I think we have a lot of success. I mean, you saw us a couple years ago, Chaz Lanier going down there. I think this team is much better than that team, and I don't think this A&M team is as good as that A&M team was, and we handled them pretty well. I mean, again, it was on the back of 8 Chaz Lanier threes, but I don't know if we're going to have that type of performance from anybody. But and then Kentucky, again, I feel like we have more, honestly, it feels weird. I feel like we have more success at Rupp against Kentucky in recent history than we do in in Thompson Bowling, but it's a little weird to me. But I think the schedule is very favorable. I really like how it matched up. I think one of the more important things is the three best teams in the SEC, Arkansas, Florida, and Texas. You only have to play them once. So that's a positive there. You get to play some of the lower level teams twice. Like you get to play obviously a Vanderbilt twice. They're going to be a little bit lower than they were last year. I think we need to get back on Vanderbilt from last year, and just in general in sports in the last calendar year. I'm sick and tired of Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
You get to play Missouri twice. They're going to be an okay team. And also, Garrett, I wanted to say one thing. We were talking last week about how if you know what you're talking about with the college basketball odds and predictions, you can make really good money. They have LSU right now is the same odds to win the national title as Purdue and BYU. So keep that in mind when you're making bets.
Well, yeah, LSU doesn't even have enough to field a team currently. I don't think R.J. Lewis is going to be able to go from the Celtics and play for Will Wade and company. But it'll be. I'm interested to see how they fill out that roster because it's not complete, and they've got about 9 guys that are supposed to play on the team, and a couple of them are still waiting on waivers. So could be a skeleton crew that Tennessee goes up against when they face the Bayou Bengals to begin the SEC slate, that third game specifically. But good stuff. I know we're a long ways away.
They have more coaching staff on their homepage than they do players.
Well, they might have stood up
4
too.
players. None of them have pitchers.
Maybe we'll play 5-on-4.
Yeah,
play an intramural bracket and take the best team and give them some scholarships.
Hey, if you're an incoming freshman at LSU and you played high school basketball, you might have an opportunity to go play for the team this year.
Open tryouts.
They might have to bring Trades Green back on the team.
Yeah. Hell, just bring Kiffin with them too. Look at all the NIL resources needed. All right, when we come back on the other side, we'll talk Tennessee being placed 10th in the conference in team offense by On3's Crane & Co. We don't agree with that. And also taking a look at some of those quarterback battles in college football outside of the one going down in Knoxville. We'll break it down when we return right here on the Playbook.
Follow us on Twitter or X or whatever the they're calling it these days at Fox Sports Knox. Fox Sports Knoxville. Fan Run Radio.
Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com.
Snakes, zombies, sharks, heights, speaking in public. The list of fears is endless. But while you're clutching your blanket in the dark, wondering if that sound in the hall was actually a footstep, the real danger is in your hand, when you're behind the wheel. And while you might think a great white shark is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
Smoky Mountain Brewery is the place to be for game day. From the moment you walk in, it's wall-to-wall big screens, making Smoky Mountain Brewery the perfect place to watch the Vols or your favorite team in action. With locations in Turkey Creek, Maryville, Pigeon Forge, and Gatlinburg, you're never far away from a great time at Smoky Mountain Brewery. Try one of their world-famous microbrews like Black Bear Ale, Mountain Light, or Cherokee Ale. Juicy burgers, wings that bring the heat, and delicious handmade pizzas made with hand-tossed crust from the freshest ingredients and their own special sauce from a secret recipe, topped off with hand-grated cheese and farm-fresh toppings. And don't forget, those famous microbrews are also available in kegs for your next party or in 6-packs and growlers to go. So grab your crew and head to Smoky Mountain Brewery and tell them Fan Run Radio sent you. Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good.
Here we go. Hour number 2 on a Monday, live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios. It's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio. Garrett Armbrust, Brett Hollander, and Caleb DeBusk joining you. I'm William Pattison. Great stuff in hour number 1. We'll continue it here in hour number 2 as we take a look at Tennessee being slated as the 10th best offense in the conference, let alone the country. Tennessee's usually one of the top offensive groups in all of college football, yet Crane & Co. over at On3 say Tennessee's the 10th best within its own conference. We'll discuss that. Also, a little bit later on, we'll take a look at those quarterback competitions across CFB. There are a number of them, and I know one of them is going down here in Knoxville between Faison Brandon and George McIntyre. We've discussed that at length. So we'll pivot our focus to across the country. Texas Tech got a little bit of a quarterback predicament. I know Will Hammond was named the guy, but in the absence of Brendan Sorsby, what does that season look like for the Red Raiders? Number of SEC competitions going down as well. Alabama, Arkansas, Florida. I also want to talk about one that was said and done in spring that I don't necessarily agree with. So we'll discuss those, and we'll wrap it up with our final thoughts. Plenty to cover the rest of the way. We do appreciate you listening along with us, however, even if it's on that YouTube chat or if it's on a streaming network, podcast network, whatever it may be. We appreciate it. And if you're on that YouTube live stream, make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss any Fan Run content, and we would love your comments and thoughts as well. But we'll get back to the action and talk Tennessee football being slated as the 10th best offense in the conference by On3's Crane & Co. And this is pretty surprising because Tennessee had one of the best offenses in college football in 2022 with Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hyatt leading the way. Hyatt was obviously the Blitnikoff Award winner. Hooker placed 5th in the Heisman Trophy voting. And wherever Heupel has been, there have been a number of successes offensively, even dating back to when he was at UCF. Those are some really good offenses engineered by Dylan Gabriel. Last year, you had a guy get on campus in the beginning of June, and Joey Aguilar, who had never played for a Power 4 team in his life outside of practicing a couple of times with UCLA, gave him App State. And he came in and led the conference in passing in his first season. Pretty impressive stuff, and that's an attribute to Josh Heupel and the offense that he runs. When you think of Tennessee and Josh Heupel, you think of offense. You think of high-powered offense, and I don't think you think of the 10th best conference, 10th best offense within the conference. But Crane & Co., that's what they say, and I just almost disrespectful, kind of beyond me that Tennessee would be placed so low. But I think this might be based on the consensus of what this group could be under a young quarterback. But even taking that young quarterback dynamic out of it, you return a top 3 or 4 running back in the conference from last season in Deshaun Bishop. You have 2 top 11 wide receivers from last year returning on this roster, Mike Matthews and Braylon Staley. We discussed Chris Doering's comments on Friday, said they were an underwhelming bunch are the Volunteers receivers, but that's not necessarily true either. Staley and Matthews, both really impressive guys. Staley was the 2025 SEC Freshman of the Year. And then your offensive line, David Sanders returns, Wendell Moy returns, Sam Pendleton returns. Jesse Perry is back in the mix. Sham Umarov back in the mix. And then you bring in guys like Ori Williams and Donovan Haslam out of the transfer portal from LSU and West Virginia, respectively. Those add even more intrigue to this offensive line. So I think quarterback is the big question. But Josh Heupel has told you year in and year out he's going to be able to field an impressive group. The 2024 team that Tennessee had wasn't dazzling in terms of offense, especially in the air, but you still had a guy in Dylan Sampson that broke the school's all-time rushing touchdowns number in one season. So even if your quarterback play isn't great, and it wasn't great in 2024, but you were still able to make it to the college football playoff, granted you had an easier schedule, but this year I think you follow the same recipe. Early in the season, as your young quarterback is getting the grips of what it's like to play college football, you lean on that offensive line. You lean on that running back into Sean Bishop. And you've also got a kid in Javin Gordon that comes in from Tulane. He was a part of the Green Waves college football playoff team last year, had 500 yards as a true freshman. You throw him into the mix. You've got Justin Baker and Dwayne Morris. One of those guys is going to come out of that backfield and be a RB3. So 10th best offense, I don't agree with. I know there are some really high-powered groups. Texas, LSU, Texas A&M returns a couple of really key contributors. Their quarterback, their receiver, running back. But I have a hard time believing that Tennessee is behind some of these schools that have a lot of changes. Alabama has a lot of changes. Ryan Coleman Williams is still around, but they've got some retooling on the offensive line. They've got a new quarterback. They've got a new running back. There are a lot of different dynamics that, to me, say, how is Tennessee, who has a lot more established, behind some of these other teams? They're going to kind of try and piece it together. So, Garrett, when you hear Tennessee is the 10th best offense in the conference, do you believe that statement? And if you're stacking it up across the teams you know are heading into the season, do you agree that part with that part either?
I don't think they're 10th, but I do think it comes down a lot to, what kind of QB play do you get? You have a really good receiver room and two really good receivers returning to Mike Matthews and Braylon Staley that were effective last season. And you have one of the top running backs in the SEC in Deshaun Bishop coming back, and you had Javin Gordon from Tulane. You have Ethan Davis at tight end. At the end of the day, though, with a freshman quarterback, are you going to be able to get all of them as involved as you would like? I think Faison's going to be a solid quarterback. Obviously, we don't expect him to go out there and throw for 3,500 yards like Joey Aguilar did, but I think he'll be able to effectively, play quarterback. I think, as you said, there's a lot of good offenses in the SEC, but there is a lot of question marks. And there's a lot of teams that could have high ceilings if everything works out. Auburn could have a really good offense if everything clicks. They bring over a lot of their receivers, Keyshawn Singleton, Jeremiah Kroger. They get Bryson Washington out of the portal from Baylor at running back. Obviously, they have a really good quarterback in Byron Brown. But I think Tennessee also has an O-line that's better than a lot of teams in the SEC, which is going to come down to helping your run game and helping a freshman quarterback so he's not running all over the field. You look at Mississippi State, they have a really good quarterback in Kamario Taylor. They have a really good wide receiver in Anthony Evans, and they have a really good running back in Fluff Bothwell. Last season, their offensive line wasn't good. So, offensive line is a big deal. If Mississippi State has a good offense, I think they could be a solid offense in the SEC. But there's just a lot of question marks. I don't think 10th is fair. I'd probably have us somewhere around 6th, 7th maybe, because I do think quarterback is a question mark. But if quarterback is good, you're probably a top 5 offense in the SEC if you have an efficient quarterback play.
So the teams ahead of Tennessee: Auburn at number 9, Alabama at 8, Florida at 7, Oklahoma at 6. And then Texas A&M has the 5th number. And then it goes Georgia, LSU, Texas, Ole Miss. Ole Miss, Texas, LSU, Georgia. Maybe Georgia's a little bit high there, but at least Ole Miss, Texas, LSU have better groups. I agree with that. Texas A&M, Mario Craver's back. Marcel Reed's back. You've got your running back. I could agree with that. Oklahoma is where I kind of draw the line, though. Oklahoma was not a good offense last year post John Mateer injury.
Yeah, they're banking on Mateer being healthy in that.
Yeah,
and the same thing with Florida. They're in a QB competition. You don't know if it's gonna if it's gonna be Tramel Jones or Philo. Yeah, Philo coming over from Georgia Tech. Obviously, they have the wide receiver room and they have the running back in Jaden Baugh. But who's the I mean, you don't know who the quarterback's going to be. Their quarterback competition, I think, is more up in the air than almost any SEC quarterback competition right now.
At Auburn, I know they bring in Byron Brown and Alex Golish as an offensive guy, but I'd pump the brakes on that. I mean, Chaz Nimrod's going to be one of their top wide receivers. Chaz Nimrod's a guy that got lost in the sauce here and had to transfer. So I would not have Auburn above Tennessee, especially.
How much do they look into the schedule? Because we're talking about our offense, but our offense is playing really good defenses.
Well, Tennessee's going to play Auburn. I mean, they'll figure out that.
Well, I mean, we're going to score on
schedule.
Auburn, but are we going to score against Texas? Are we going to be able to put up numbers against the best team? So we're talking about.
Well, we play some good defenses, but we also play some really bad.
Look,
defenses.
in 2024, we were second in the conference if you take the whole season in totality in offense. But if you take just conference games, you were 10th.
Mm-hmm.
So. What are we looking at here? Are we just looking at an SEC only? Are we looking at it because we're going to score against Kennesaw? Like Nico put up 51 against NC State. So that's the big question. I just wonder what because I know they do their research and they look at this thing, who you're playing, what defenses you're playing. I guarantee you they were looking at, but if you're looking at schedule, I mean, ours is like the second or third easiest as well.
To be Ole Miss at 1, I would put Texas at 1 personally.
I don't know if
I don't know that I can put Ole Miss at 1 without Charlie Weiss and the offensive scheme that they ran last season. I think they have the best running back quarterback duo in the SEC. I'll give them that, but I mean I wouldn't classify their wide receiver room on the same page as Texas with Ryan Wingo, Cam Coleman, and Emmett Mosley. I know they lose Parker Livingston to Oklahoma, but I still think that Texas wide receiver room is better than Ole Miss's wide receiver room. They have Kejuan Lacey, but Texas has 2 running backs that could rush for 1,000 yards.
Yeah, Texas would be my number 1.
Yeah.
I think LSU really has the argument over Ole Miss in terms of volume of who they've got. I mean, LSU's got 6 or 7 receivers. They have enough guys on their roster to fill out 2 starting units in the SEC. So, look, I like Ole Miss. I like Kejuan Lacey. I like Trinidad Chambliss. But as you mentioned, Charlie Weiss Jr. no longer there. Is Joe Judge going to be the whisperer that they've had in years past? I haven't seen it. And I haven't seen it with Pete Golding as a head coach either. I know they win that Sugar Bowl against Georgia. That was a very impressive win, one in which I give Golding a lot of credit for. But I haven't seen him coach for a whole season. So
Where would you rank their wide receiver room? I mean, I don't even know if I'd have their wide receiver room as like top 5 in the conference, to be honest with you.
Deuce Alexander, Darryl Gill, and Jonte Cook are their presumed.
Jonte Cook, to me, though, is a wild card. Like, I know he was solid at Syracuse, but I mean, the guy didn't play football for 2 seasons as a 5-star because of all the stuff that went down and stuff. And I mean, he was the guy at Syracuse. I don't anticipate him being the guy at Ole Miss.
Well, Deuce Alexander's the guy.
Yeah, exactly.
In terms of receiving cores, Texas has the best. LSU is deeper, but I would put them at 2.
I think A&M's right there with at least a 1-2 punch.
With Horton and Craver.
Yeah.
Florida definitely deserves an argument with Vernell Brown, Dallas Wilson, and Eric Singleton.
I mean, if Ryan Williams is closer to what he was as freshman, I like Latsier Brooks a lot. I mean, I think Alabama has a top 2 that's solid. Tennessee's, as deep as anybody. I mean, maybe not as anybody, but Tennessee's 4 or 5 deep of guys that are going to play. You have the 2 of Matthews and Staley that everyone knows, but Rodarius Jackson, TK, I would expect those guys to still have receptions and play this season.
If I were doing these rankings, I would split it up into categories. I'd have quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, offensive line. I think Ole Miss debatably wins at quarterback. Now, I would have Arch Manning at 1, but debatably would win at quarterback with the best. Running back, debatably would win with Missouri for the best. So I think they've got that in their cap where they've got 2 number 1s. Texas, I think, has the best wide receiver in Cam Coleman. I think they debatably have the best quarterback in Arch Manning. I would still have a Hardy and a Lacey above a Smothers or Brown at running back, but they're right there. Their offensive line had a couple of questions last year, but they returned a lot of guys. Goosby's going to be a first-round pick. I don't think Ole Miss has a first-round pick.
Yeah, Texas O-line is definitely better.
Yeah.
But, Trinidad at the same time, he's like Arch. They're both mobile guys. Trinidad can run around a little bit and be fine, but.
And, I look at Florida. It's a big quarterback problem, but Ball's a top 3 running back.
Sure.
I think they have got a top 3 or 4 receiving
Dallas
core.
Wilson's going to be really good this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Oklahoma at 6 is severely overrated. I like Sentenga, but they got to replace a lot of productive players from last year. And Mateer just was not the same player after the injury. So I think 6 for Oklahoma is way too high. But again, I'm going to focus on the teams right in front of Tennessee. Auburn, I don't agree with. Byron Brown, I don't even know if he's going to work in the SEC. Throws the football like a toasted sub.
Would you take him over Faison?
Well, maybe for this specific season, maybe. But
I mean, the guy's put up numbers.
Byron Brown's playing his 4th year.
You can't argue with what he's done.
Would I take 4th year Faison Brand or 4th year Byron Brown?
Oh, that's too hard to answer.
Well, that's one. But you're getting a 4th year version of Byron Brown compared
he's
to
still going to put up numbers.
A kid that we haven't
he's going to put
seen.
up numbers.
I think Auburn's going to be a team that, I'm not saying that they're going to go 7-2 in the SEC or anything, but I think they're a team that could go 5-4, 4-5, but be a team you don't want to play. DJ Durkin's going to have a decent defense. I mean, they had a good defense all of last season. They were short of a quarterback. They have a quarterback now. They have some guys in the receiver room. I think Bryson Washington's a really good running back. He was good at Baylor. I'm not saying Auburn. Like I said, Auburn. I don't think they're going to be anything that special. 7-5, 6-6. But I think they're a team you don't want to play in Jordan Hare because they have the potential to upset anybody, even if they go 4-5.
They've missed
in conference
offense. They're going to get offense this year. They've
Yeah.
struggled offensively.
That's what I'm saying. And if the defense
Makes
is what it
more
was last year, I mean, I think Auburn definitely takes a step up.
Yeah.
Phil Cooper on the YouTube chat says Georgia will win SEC best coach favorable schedule, and also asks, is Missouri's running back going to be 100%? Ahmad Hardy, the guy in question, and he is going to be cleared for the season, but might not start the year as he's still on a timeline that was given out by Eli Drinkwitz last week. But we'll talk more about those quarterback battles in the SEC in our
I'm
next
surprised
segment. But
Mississippi State wouldn't get a shout somewhere.
I think
Mississippi State, when you stack it up,
Mississippi State's O-line holds up. Mississippi State is the
they
team
got
in the
weapons.
bottom half of the conference. They could come and shock people. Think about how close they were to beating Texas
They
last
put
year.
up numbers in almost every game.
When they had Michael Van Buren at quarterback a couple years ago, they played Georgia close. They played Texas
Mario
very
Taylor's
close last year. Now, if they don't have a defense this season, they could be like Arkansas last year.
We're just having an offensive conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I think Kamario Taylor is as athletic as any quarterback in the country.
Yeah.
I think Mississippi State is the sleeper, in the SEC of 12 through 16 that could make noise just because of how close they've been. And I don't think Jeff Lebby's a bad coach. I just think he's been put in a bad situation the past couple seasons.
I think their offensive line, at least currently, would rank towards the bottom of the conference for me, though.
Yeah, that's going to be the big question mark.
Yeah. South Carolina was an honorable mention, one spot behind Tennessee. They've obviously got Nick Harbor and Lenora Sellers.
Another one if they get offensive line play.
But offensive line,
as good as anybody.
Offensive line, they did a hell of a job in the transfer portal, but two of their top guys now hurt. Jacarius Peaks hurt, and so is Thompson. So I don't.
Beamer doesn't last 5 games.
That was my original prediction. We'll see.
See, the thing about Nick Harbor is he has blow by speed. Obviously, he's maybe the fastest player in the country, but he's not an elite route runner or anything.
I would agree.
He's just fast that. I mean, he's not really a traditional wide receiver. That's not even what he grew up playing.
He'll probably end up on a track before.
Yeah, I mean, he's hard to cover because that's hard for a corner to go step for step with him. But I don't know that South Carolina really has that special of an offense, in my opinion.
I just think we talked about Crane and Cone in the past. I intentionally do not listen to these guys. I really I know when they put out their SEC coaches, Russ had them on the show to kind of answer for everything. So I kind of hope he does a similar thing here because honestly, this list the way I just think this list is pathetic. There's really no other way to put it. Ole Miss at number 1's a joke. Oklahoma, Florida, and Auburn being ahead of Tennessee is an absolute joke. I even think we should be ahead of an Alabama. I mean, if you're just doing this based off just our quarterback situation, then I mean, I don't know what the argument is for Bama ahead of us. I think we have better receivers than Bama. I think our offensive line is going to be better. And then Auburn. If you're putting Auburn up there just because Alex Golish, why does Heupel not get more of a
No, I agree there.
Than Alex
I agree there.
I think Byron Brown does the big. Byron Brown. I mean, people might not know it because he played at USF at South Florida. He threw for 3,000 and rushed for 1,000 last year.
Like
2 years ago, he threw for 3,000 and almost rushed for it. Like, this is a guy that's almost gone 3K, 1K 2 times the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, I think Byron Brown. He's a great player, but I'm just saying, like, in a 9-game SEC schedule. Or like how is your offensive line going to hold up?
They also did
how good of a receiver player are you going to get? What's your running back room going to look like? Like it's a lot. Like you can look at Ole Miss and be like, oh, but Trinidad Chambliss was this. Trinidad Chambliss had an amazing group around him. Like it takes more than just a generational quarterback. Like you got to have serviceable guys around him. Like you can take the best quarterback in the world, throw him on a high school team, and play him against Alabama. He's not going to do too great. Like you need at least serviceable. Like I think, a quarterback can really change the DNA of a program and DNA of a team and give you 6-7 wins possibly if you just have a really good quarterback play. But I think you at least need to have serviceable stuff around him. I think, and just going back to the list, Texas should be number 1. LSU should be up there. Georgia should be down to that 7 or 8 mark. Nobody talks about Georgia because their offense. Like I think that this list was just rank the 10 teams in the SEC and kind of move them around a little bit and slap an offensive ranking on it. Like I don't like this list at all, really.
I think Georgia does have a good quarterback, good running back group. Nate Frazier, Chauncey Bowens. Offensive line really strong too. Ernest Green headlines that group. But now the receivers are a big question.
They've never done it with receivers.
They're a tight end.
Yeah.
Lawson Lucky's back in the mix. But what were you going to say, Brett?
I was going to say they also rank their top 10 defenses, and we play 5 of the top 6. Or 5.
Tennessee was not included on that top 10. Were they?
We were 10th.
10th. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Oklahoma's 1, Texas 2, Georgia 3, LSU 4, Bama 5, A&M 6, Auburn 7. So we play we play Texas, we play LSU, play Bama, play A&M, play Auburn, who all are in the top 7 of defenses in the conference.
Their defensive list, I would align with a lot more.
Ole Miss at 8, Missouri 9, and us at 10.
I would align with their defensive list much better. The offense, though, I mean, I know Josh Heupel. Josh Heupel's had a lot more success than me than to be ranked 10th. So if we're looking at this.
But if we're going by like conference only.
Sure.
Like we were 9th in 2024, but if you look at the overall statistics, we were 2nd in the conference in points per game and points scored on the season. So
and that was
I look at it more in the conference scheme of things than I do in the full schedule scheme of things.
But that was one of our worst.
They're outliers.
That was one of our worst years as far as offense.
And that's what I'm expecting.
And that's what you can kind of expect this year, sure. If you were
closer to that.
If this were to be at the end of the season, so let's take this group and say we're at the end of the season now, and you compare what it looks like versus this group, Garrett, would you say this is what it will be at the end of the year?
The ranking you're saying?
The ranking you're saying at the end of the season, and we were to come back and compare these two, would it be Ole Miss, Texas, LSU? Would it be in this order, or what would you project it looks like? Because at the end of the day, that's what you're trying to get. And this projection, they're saying these are the top 10 groups by the end of the season.
I think Texas is number 1 in the SEC. I think we're closer to 5 than we are 10. I mean, we might be 7. We might be, but I think we're closer to the 5th best offense than we are. Alabama, to me, I mean, can they run the ball efficiently? I mean, they had zero run game last season.
Couldn't do it at all.
They could not run the football. So I mean, we're not the only team that has a question mark. I mean, yes, I understand quarterback's the most important position on the field, but I mean, you look at some of these other. Florida has a QB competition. Alabama has a QB competition. Alabama couldn't run the ball last season. I mean, there's other teams ahead. Ole Miss loses their offensive coordinator. So I mean, there's a lot of uncertainties in this list. I think 10 is too low. I understand the argument of 5 or 6 schools being higher than us, but not 10th. Not 10th in my opinion.
I'm just looking at I'm trying to just think if we're going position by position rankings, and if they were to kind of put a cumulus, like who has the strongest point number, like, we throw Auburn in there. Auburn has a really good quarterback, offensive line, questions, running back.
I'd go as far as just talent wise, I'd put us up there in top 5 easy.
Another position we haven't talked about.
I'd be in the playoff with a quarterback.
Another position we have talked. I think our tight end room's better than most
100%.
of these teams. I understand tight end is kind of a lost thought, and sometimes when you're thinking about offensive football, but I think Ethan Davis is a better tight end 1 than at least half the list has.
100%, yeah.
I mean, I think Trades Green would be 1.
Yeah, Trades Green's definitely 1. But
Lawson
then,
Lucky at 2.
I mean, like Kentucky has a good one. They're not on the list, obviously.
what's his name?
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez, yeah.
But,
I think
mean,
Kentucky can have a better offense than like an Auburn. I don't understand.
I think they have a good quarterback, but I don't think they have the wide receiver pieces.
You think Auburn does though? I mean,
I think Auburn has wide receiver. I'm pretty high on Keyshawn Singleton and Jeremiah Kroger.
Both those guys transfer in from South Florida. Nimrod's going to be a part of that group, so that'll be a nice welcome back to Neyland. But I would not have Tennessee behind Auburn. It almost feels like I
think I'd have Auburn ahead of us, but I wouldn't have us behind Alabama and Florida probably.
Like I get that we have a question mark at quarterback. It's a massive question mark. We're going to have either a second-year guy or a true freshman. But we are so solid at every other – we have one of the –
Yeah, but if you're saying our quarterback's not as good, that means those position players aren't as good either.
Well,
so you're not getting the yards.
I don't
the points.
I don't think but it's not like we're having a situation where it's like we're going to have one of the worst quarterbacks you've ever seen. Like I get it if Justin Worley was our front runner for our quarterback competition right now, but we're looking at a guy who was former at one point the number 1 player in his class
in high school.
In high school, yeah, but I mean, still being the number 1 player in your class is no small feat. I think this guy is going to be better than your average true freshman. Obviously, he's still going to be a true freshman, but we're going to have one of the best offensive lines in the country. We're going to have one of the best running backs in the country.
I mean, if you're saying we're having a top 5 offense in the conference, that's playoff. You're talking in there with the playoff teams.
Yeah, I think if
2
games go our way, we're in the like I said, it's a 4-game schedule.
He's always been more optimistic about it.
He's way more. Him and Josh, the young crew. Yeah,
we play 4 games this season. We play 4 games. And 3 of them are home games. If we win 2 of those 4 games, we're in the playoff. Now, I'm not predicting us to go to the playoff.
You got to figure out a way not to drop. You've had these teams in the previous years. 2022, you drop a game to South Carolina. I understand Hendon got hurt, but I mean, you gave up 63 points on the road. 2024, you lose to Arkansas.
I throw Georgia Tech in that group too in terms of those 4 big games. I think Georgia Tech was most certainly
it's the season almost.
And I know Georgia Tech does replace a lot, and we're constantly reminded that by the YouTube chat. But that is a season setter, in terms of.
FBI even says South Carolina's a 50-50 game.
Yeah.
It's a pick.
If you lose Georgia Tech, I mean, things could go off the rail pretty quick. Yeah. I mean, if you lose to Georgia Tech and you lose to Texas, you're 2-2 through 4 weeks.
It's louder,
opposed to 3-1.
But I think we'll be with how Alabama's looking in the offseason. I think we'll be a slight favorite against Alabama when they come into Neyland because, again, questions at offensive line. They couldn't run the ball last year. We don't know what their quarterback situation is going to look like. I don't think either of their options – I don't think they're super happy with either of their quarterback options right now. Like, I think they would much rather – I mean –
I think they're happy with Keelan. I think Keelan Russell is going to be really good.
I think Keelan Russell is going to be their starter, but I just find it hard to believe that we can be so good at all these offensive positions that we have. We're so solid everywhere. And then, I don't think you could put Faison in a better situation than you're putting him in this year. We're going to have one of the best this receiver room is one of the best we've had in a really long time. Yeah. Offensive line is going to be the best Heupel's had, I think. You're returning 1,000-yard rusher in Deshaun Bishop. You have a guy like Ethan Davis coming back. Say what you want about Ethan Davis. I think we don't use our tight ends as much as a lot of other teams do, and I think in the way other teams do. We use our tight ends a lot, but we use them a lot more as pass catchers. A lot of teams keep them inside. Heupel, and that's been the problem in the past. And that's why we haven't really seen Heupel's offenses work the way that they have in years like 22 is because we've had to pull guys in and have extra tight ends on the line to block. I don't think we're going to have to do that this year. And I think we're going to have a much more diverse and different offense this year.
Well, look, I think this is the part of the season right now where you just got to wait and see how everything unfolds. I think traditionally Tennessee being placed at number 10 is a little bit of an insult and disrespect. But when you stack up the rest of the conference, there are a number of arguments to be made. I don't think Tennessee belongs at 10. I'd have them closer to that 7 or 8 range. But again, that's why we get to play the season, right? Real quick on the YouTube chat, Phil Cooper says Bama signed a great running back. I think he's referring to, E.J. Crowell, a 5-star that came in this class.
Back, I believe.
Daniel Hill didn't really move the needle.
He ran over
for
Ty
me.
Redmond.
He might have done well. I think anyone could have run over the Tennessee secondary last year. And then Jugshead Dog says returning a lot of players from a team that got crushed at home to Vandy. Stop this. I think that might be in reply to Caleb. But I mean, I think there are a lot of. I mean, look, there are even teams. Florida returns a lot from last year. Jaden Ball, Dallas Wilson, Vernell Brown, and those guys got punished, but they're still really impressive players. So, again, I just think the overall ranking at 10, a little disrespectful. I would have had 7 or 8. I think Auburn, I like Byron Brown. I'll see if they're ready for the SEC. Oklahoma, their whole issue last year was offense. I don't know how they're better than Tennessee heading into this season when they return a lot of the same cast. So we'll went a little bit over there. When we come back, we'll continue the topic of college football, also kind of keying in on some of these quarterback battles across the sport outside of Knoxville. Stay right here. It's Playbook on Fan Run Radio.
Can't get enough Fan Run Radio? Download the free Fan Run app and take the best Tennessee sports conversations with you wherever you go.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jacob Wilco at Knoxville Smiles. Have you ever wanted to improve the look of your smile? We know firsthand what the power of a great smile means to a person's confidence and health. Our team of doctors can provide you with an array of options for helping you achieve your cosmetic goals. From simply moving teeth into a better position, to reversible cosmetic bonding, to full mouth implant-supported dentures. It is our goal to help patients feel good about their appearance while achieving optimal health. Want to learn more? Call us at 865-539-1776 to schedule an evaluation, or visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com.
Are you ready for the start of a new season? Maybe looking for your team to go on a tournament run? Get game day ready with Crumble. Head on over to your nearest location and pick up 12 pre-selected cookies plus exclusive toppers. When you're looking for dessert options, there's no question about who you should call on. Our listeners already know. Last year, the Dubai chocolate was a home run, along with the brownie batter. Oreo crumb was another crowd favorite. What new flavor will set the standard this season? If you're in the Knoxville area, there are 3 locations ready to serve you: Clinton Highway, Parkside Drive, and Maryville. Download the Crumble app to build your best lineup and vote on the best combos. You can even put your bid in to request a new flavor. Order in the app and slide on over to your nearest location. Tell them Fan Run sent you, and as always, it's for the fans, by the fans. Don't miss the cookies.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
White Claw is taking hard seltzer to new heights with White Claw Surge. At 8% alcohol, White Claw Surge is a stronger wave of refreshment that doesn't compromise on taste. Available in 4 bold waves of flavor like ripe blackberry, citrusy blood orange, zesty natural lime, and tart cranberry. Check out your favorite retailer in-store and online for the White Claw Surge Variety 12-pack and 16-ounce single-serve cans. White Claw Surge. Please drink responsibly.
Fan Run Radio, the flagship station for Tennessee fans.
This ain't no wishy-washy, limp-wristed, kale-eating, half-ass sports radio station.
We're your in-your-face, truth-telling, say it loud, flag-waving, face-painting, hardcore, bring the noise, causing a ruckus, don't give a damn sports station.
Sports talk that doesn't just hang up and listen.
For the fans. This is Fan Run Radio.
Get some.
All right, back here on the Playbook. We appreciate you hanging out with us on this fine Monday from Knoxville, Tennessee. A reminder, Knoxville Smokies, ex-Fan Run Radio, will return for the 3rd straight year in a row. Come join us at Covenant Health Park on Thursday, August 13th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for a night filled of fun and Fan Run fun by that. Arrive early to get some commemorative T-shirts, and it's also Thirsty Thursday that night too. So half-price draft beer. I'm not one that drinks beer because of the allergies, but I know a lot of people will be inclined to enjoy that. And it's also college night too. So if you're in college and listening, a valid student ID gets you in for $10.
Has class started back by then?
No, not yet.
Coming back,
a lot of people get back on campus for it, though,
I
or
figure it's gotta be
arriving.
close. I know Knox County.
Most people will be coming back here in the next week because leases start on August 1st and stuff. At least at apartments, obviously, if you have a Ford house,
it's usually
kind of a
when you
little
start.
different than that. But
This weekend will be madness too because the leases start.
Gotcha.
So I think Rush has got to be pretty soon too. So if you're in a fraternity or sorority, you probably got to be on campus here within the next week or two.
I got a week left of driving down the road without traffic. Once the kids get
You're
back
up early though, right?
Well, that is, but they are too.
I guess it's true.
I mean, all these girls go to Hot Works and Hot all these. I mean, they're up driving around. Yeah, they're
Starbucks
sitting there drinking on their unicorn frappe from Starbucks. In and out of the lanes. Oh man,
it's a mess.
Yeah,
you're already angry.
No, well, not yet. I mean, I was there. I was in that. But I just know what summer traffic looks like around my parts, and I know what campus and when everyone gets back looks like. But
it's a little different.
Yeah, the campus Chipotle goes from a 10 in the summer to a like negative 100 once the kids get back.
Outside.
Oh my gosh, it is unbearable.
The campus one's terrible. We walk in sometimes. Sorry, we're out of chicken and all kinds of stuff. It's like, how are you out of chicken?
Oh, you thought that was bad? Wait till you go there. They're out of bowls, chicken, steak. I mean, they're out of the menu. And yeah,
I'm just gonna miss playing pool and pizza. Cool Beans.
There you go.
It's gonna be.
I know. Yeah. I know. I haven't been to Cool Beans in a minute. My dad asked me that this weekend. He goes, "You ever go to Cool Beans?" I'm like, "No, I don't think I've been since
February." I just go for the pool. That's all.
Yeah, hey, I don't blame you. It's a good spot. It's a good spot. But hey, make sure to check us out or come along with us. Smokies Fan Run Night, August 13th. Going to be a great time. Listen to Fan Run Radio over the next couple of weeks too to figure out how you can get some free tickets. We'll bounce back into the action real quick. Talking about these quarterback competitions because we were just discussing. The best offenses in the SEC. And there are a number of them that are going through some quarterback controversies, some quarterback battles. We'll begin with Alabama because that's Austin Mack, the fourth-year player that began his career at Washington, has followed Kalen DeBoer throughout his college timeline. And he's up against Keelan Russell, a five-star in that 2025 class. I called him last year the Lamborghini in the dusty garage, and he's got an opportunity to be the starter this year. A very high-profile quarterback battle when it goes down in T-Town. And what I think this quarterback battle will tell me is the kind of development that Austin Mack has had over the years. If he is able to get beat out by, granted, a fascinating young player in Keelan Russell, that tells me that Austin Mack was never really a significant option or a serious option over the years past, and that Keelan Russell might be Kalen DeBoer's ticket to buying himself a couple of years. Because I think DeBoer is constantly in the limelight of could be fired, could be on the hot seat, whatever it may be. If you start a young quarterback in Keelan Russell and he shows some promise, I think that buys him some time. I think Russell will be the guy. And if Mack's not the guy, I kind of feel bad for him. He's almost wasted his whole entire college career just being a backup and sticking to Kalen DeBoer just to not play. What do you make of Alabama's quarterback scenario?
Obviously Keelan's, the younger guy, both highly rated out of high school. As you said, Mack, recruited by DeBoer and Ryan Grubb, the OC, when they were at Washington. But as you said, it's been a backup his whole career. And then Keelan, I think Keelan has definitely a little bit more of an athletic build, more of a rushing factor. Honestly, I thought Mack probably would win the job if you would have asked me at the beginning of the year, but now I maybe lean Keelan. I don't know. I think either of them could win it, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if Mack won it, but at the same time, if you get Russell in there, he could be your quarterback of the future for the next 2 or 3 years. So, maybe that's the reason why they end up going with him. You don't have to go back in the portal and get another quarterback because I don't know that Mack has too much eligibility. I mean, he's already a senior, I think. So,
redshirt junior this year.
Yeah, so I would think maybe he only has 2 years eligibility left. I mean, if Russell played good for 2 years, he'd be going to the draft anyways. But I think it's pretty up in the air, honestly. I think the familiarity with being with DeBoer and Grubb for so long is nice, but at the same time, Russell might just be the better quarterback.
I'm going to call Austin Mack an injunction candidate because if he doesn't play this series, he's going to be in that courtroom. What were you about to say, Brett?
No, I was just going to ask, is this a scenario where whoever wins it, the next guy would transfer like Russell doesn't?
Oh, yeah.
So this is the case for most guys these days, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't want to sit on the bench again, right?
Well, Keelan Russell is way too talented to sit along for another. But here's the thing.
Matt came in the bowl game last year.
Matt came in the bowl game.
It looked okay on that opening drive, if I remember correctly.
Well, I mean, that game period.
I mean, it was over, but I'm just saying,
one.
like, I remember them going down.
Mac doesn't wow me other than his size. I like his
he's
size. He's a big dude. But Keelan Russell is just dynamic. And he was at A-Day. Mac got hurt before the A-Day game back in April. It might have been late March, whatever it was. And Russell was really good. Had a couple of rushing scores, a couple of touchdowns in the air. I think he's the guy that will take over. But here's the thing. They've got another kid committed, a 5-star in JT Tamala out of Iowa, and he's a 5-star kid too. So, like, they've got a couple of – if Russell doesn't start this year, then, he's likely out the window. But if Russell does start, do they hold on to a 5-star that they just got in this past class? There are a lot of different dynamics that pop out of this. But if I'm Mac and I don't win the job, I'm getting comfortable at Kennesaw State or Georgia Southern, somewhere else. And
DeBoer's, though, he's most successful with, like, the pocket guy, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Throughout his career. Like, he wasn't – and Milroy wasn't, like – but you compare, like, Milroy was – not good. And he was
Mac and Russell are both his guys, though. He recruited both of them. I think Russell
really
gives him a higher
call.
ceiling.
It's a tough call.
Yeah. Another team, not going to surprise anyone. In my opinion, the worst team in the conference, it's Arkansas. KJ Jackson up against Memphis transfer A.J. Hill. Hill was a time and time starter for Ryan Silverfield last year for Memphis, even though it was Brendan
Lewis.
Yeah, Brendan Lewis, the Nevada transfer, was the full-time starter for the Tigers last year. But Jackson versus Hill, not a quarterback competition that a lot of people have their eyes on. But does this change your opinion of the Razorbacks this year, depending on who wins the job? Hill's got the familiarity with Silverfield. Jackson showed a little bit of shine last year against Texas. Do any of those guys change what Arkansas looks like? And that's a Tennessee opponent as well.
I think Hill was highly recruited. Started at he was a 4-star at Memphis. He went to Memphis because FedEx had money and helped Memphis there. He was a guy that had SEC offers. I think Hill could be a guy that could be decent for the next couple seasons. I don't anticipate Arkansas to win more than 2 SEC games this season, but I just don't think they really have the pieces around him. I thought though when they lost to UAB last season, I didn't think he looked great in that game against a UAB team that was not good. But then in the bowl game against NC State, I thought he looked pretty decent. So, he was a true freshman last season. You see guys from the true freshman year to their sophomore season over the summer make a big jump. So I would probably say A.J. Hill would be the better long-term option just because of his high school ranking and the familiarity in the Silverfield offense. But as I said, against a team in the American that was not good last year, UAB, I don't even think he threw for 200 passing yards in that game.
Another quarterback battle, too, Florida. A lot of people are deeming them the dark horse for the college football playoff. I think it's a little bit premature, but I do like some of the bones of this team. Jaden Ball, an excellent running back. We mentioned those wide receivers earlier, Vernell Brown and Dallas Wilson. They enter into their sophomore seasons. And then Eric Singleton Jr., a transfer from Auburn and Georgia Tech. He's an interesting player for this group as well. So it's down to Aaron Philo, who was at GT. Offensive coordinator comes over along with them. Tramel Jones, I think if it weren't for political reasonings, he could have started last year over DJ Lagway. I like Tramel Jones Jr. based on what I saw last year, but Philo's experience within this offensive system, I think, is going to give him the upper hand right now. Would either of these guys make Florida a dark horse contender, or is that just kind of a lot of media buzz right now, Garrett?
I think it depends on what you get out of the quarterback. Obviously, Aaron's played more in his career. He started a couple games during the time when Haynes was out. I know he started the game against Gardner-Webb last season. He threw for like 400 yards, and people were excited. 2024, he played a handful of games. Obviously, Tramel is more of hasn't played as much. You're not 100% sure what you get. Highly rated guy. They have the offensive pieces around them, though, to be a good offense. Obviously, it's a good wide receiver room. They have one of the best running backs in the SEC. I think this is an interesting competition. Now, I don't know that they would have gone out into the portal, though, if they would have thought Trammell was definitely going to be QB1 for the season. And they went out and got a quarterback that, even though he was a QB2 at Georgia Tech, he was pretty highly touted. Like, there were, a lot of talks that he could go be a quarterback at a big school. So there's obviously something in him. Didn't play, a ton, being Haynes King backup. But I think he's a gamer, and I think both of them are pretty solid options.
One last quarterback competition that I want to talk about is Missouri, and this one has already been done. So Austin Simmons, the Ole Miss transfer, won the job back in spring. I disagree with that vehemently because Matt Zollers, though he wasn't incredible, he's a former top 100 prospect in that 2025 class. I thought he came in and did a good job for being a true freshman and taking over for injury. Austin Simmons was over his skis every time he stepped onto the field for the Rebels. Georgia State, couple of bad interceptions. Kentucky threw the same guy twice in one quarter, and it wasn't his own receiver. I don't see it with Austin Simmons. I think he's a very smart guy. Caden Lee comes over at wide receiver, a guy he had in Oxford with him. Also like Caleb Goody, a transfer from Cincinnati, one of the fastest players in college football, another receiver for him. Ahmad Hardy and Roberts, that's a great 1-2 duo. But I would not have named Austin Simmons the starter back in the spring unless Matt Zollers just was way out of it. I know they have dealt with some injuries in that room in years past, or last season specifically. Horn was one of those guys that got hurt, I believe, in that Central Arkansas game.
Yeah, because he was going to be.
He was a baseball player too.
Yeah.
But Matt Zollers, I wouldn't have chalked this up in the spring. I don't think Simmons is that good. Do you agree with that decision to call it in the spring and not even allow these guys in the coming weeks to have a camp and battle it out?
Yeah, I think that's a little bit interesting the way they went about it. Obviously, Zollers was supposed to be QB3 last season, ends up being the starter for multiple games due to the two quarterbacks in front of him in his room being injured. I didn't think he was overly impressive in the games that he played, but again, didn't have that great of a wide receiver room around him last season. And Missouri with Jamal Robertson and Ahmad Hardy, even if he doesn't play as much as he did last season, they're going to run the ball a lot. So he doesn't have to be an elite quarterback. Caden Lee and Donovan, what's his name? One of their other receivers. They have two good receivers, but at the end of the day, they have a really good rushing attack. Simmons, I think to me, Simmons is living a lot off that Georgia game for his career. I think people are remembering that game a lot more than some of his other games that he's had where he hasn't played as good. I still think Simmons has game, but he's got to show me a little more this season because I thought, like, you always bring up the Kentucky game. I mean, that was a bad game for him. I think he has potential, but I wouldn't have said that the competition was over in the spring. I would have let them roll it out into the fall and name the starter a couple weeks before the season.
Yeah, I wouldn't have either. Caleb,
I don't even see the point. I don't see the point, regardless of who the quarterbacks are. I don't see the point of naming a starter in the spring. Like, why wouldn't you just wait? Eli Drink. I don't think much of Eli Drink as a head coach in the first place. I don't really like the guy at all. I think he's a little odd. But
what does Tony B call him, Brett? Eli Drinkwitz?
Drink a fifth.
Eli Drink a fifth. I heard that earlier. I've never heard that. That was awesome.
Every time I think of Drinkwitz, I just think of that video where they landed that recruit and he jumped into his assistant coach's arms and wrapped his legs around him. I don't know if y'all have seen that, but that's the only thing I think of when I think of Drinkwitz.
He's a weird guy, but he is a decent coach.
He can coach.
He can coach. I mean, he's brought Mizzou to levels I didn't really necessarily expect them to reach in the SEC during his time.
Yeah, that's true. He's been there 7 years. I think that's pretty impressive, at least, to do in the SEC.
He's won some football games.
I mean, think about how bad they were when we played them in 2021. We ran them out of their own stadium. And then in 2024, they ran us out of their own stadium. So
Everybody say we take that personally, Josh. Real quick, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. A couple of YouTube comments that we'll read, and we'll wrap things up on a Monday edition of the Playbook. Stay right here.
Congratulations. You found sports radio that doesn't suck. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Barley's has live music on weekends, general team trivia on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., and now live sports trivia courtesy of the Knoxville Trivia Guys every Thursday night upstairs. The game starts at 7 p.m. and is free to play for everyone, so head on down to the Old City and show off your sports knowledge and win gift cards to Barley's. Use those gift cards to buy some delicious food and drinks, And you can take it all in with their wide selection of TVs and indoor projectors. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
Are you thinking of buying a home but don't know where to start? Well, call VFL Josh Travis, your local mortgage expert with Foundation Mortgage, based right here in Knoxville. Whether it's your first home or your forever home, he'll keep the process simple every step of the way. To get started, visit mortgagebrokerjosh.com or call 423-312-9777 today. Foundation Mortgage Company, LLC is an equal opportunity housing company. NMLS number 1387311.
Join us for the third annual Fan Run Night at the Smokies, Thursday, August 13th at Covenant Health Park. Come hang out with the Fan Run crew and arrive early to pick up some swag as we watch the Smokies take on the Rocket City Trash Pandas on a Thirsty Thursday, featuring half-price draft beers all night long. It's the third annual Fan Run Night with the Smokies, Thursday, August 13th. Listen to Fan Run Radio for details on how to score free tickets.
Citizens National Bank.
Life is more fun with a Good Life account, offering extra benefits, including bank travel. Experience the trip of a lifetime to Ireland. Explore rolling green hills, historic castles, and charming villages across the Emerald Isle. Get in on the fun. Call 865-429-7935 today.
Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good.
Member FDIC.
All right, final thoughts on a Monday. We appreciate you hanging out with us over the last 2 hours. We'll swing it over to the drive here in just a second. Reminder, Fan Run Night at the Smokies, Thursday, August 13th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Thirsty Thursday, half-price draft beers. College night, $10 tickets with a valid student ID. And also arrive early to get some Fan Run swag, your own T-shirt to walk out with. That's a pretty good deal. So we'll see you there. Make sure to listen to Fan Run Radio over the next couple of weeks to score some free tickets as well. And we'll wrap it up with our final thoughts. I don't know if you guys saw this today. It's kind of viral on Twitter, but there is a realty group out of College Station, Texas, that is building this thing called the Aggie Land Game Day Suites. And it's basically like if the Danny District was a housing district, basically, with luxury game day spots. So I think they're like 200-something units, and people can buy them and rent them out each week. And it's got like a football field down the middle type of, it's like 50 yards long. It's just right across the way from Kyle Field. It looks really cool. I know it's expensive as hell. It's like $560 or excuse me, $560,000 to get a space, but I think it's cool. And I like having more kind of game day integration and stuff like that. I know there's a group in Michigan that's building a house literally the block over from the big house, 18 people, and they're going to like rent it out throughout the season for people to come in and party. I think that stuff's kind of cool. I also, I grew up loving kind of like HGTV and stuff, so I always like when they kind of merge. It's expensive. But maybe in the Danny District they can add on to it and have some housing a part of it as well.
Well, I mean, the hotel, is it a hotel?
I mean, a hotel condo, yeah.
So
I mean,
I assume that's not going to be cheap.
That won't be cheap either. No, nothing will be cheap.
But I mean, a lot of people complain about the Danny District, but like this is just the direction that college football is heading. I mean, everyone is doing this. It's not just Danny White trying to make a buck. Like,
yeah.
It's for the Tulsa had the transfer portal house.
Transfer portal house. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Like there's a lot of other teams that are going to do way uglier stuff than we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess people's main gripe is they can't see the stadium from across the river in South Knoxville. How many times are you over there looking at the stadium across the river?
Yeah.
Like seriously, how many times are you standing over there?
I will say I do like it when I cross the bridge on my walk. It is a nice view, but I guess it won't be affected from that angle.
Yeah. I mean, view of the stadium, 6 and 6.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Real quick, Phil Cooper, any news from the basketball team? Saw that Barnes is going to have a show about his career on the 29th. And Jug said that it should be on the Final Four weekend. Yes, Barnes documentary. I've actually known about it for a good bit now and know a couple of people that have been a part of it. And that's a really exciting story. A lot of great interviews. I will be tuned into that. And they should air it during the Final Four week because they can watch concurrently as Tennessee's in Detroit for it. And speaking of travel, I'll be out tomorrow and Wednesday. I've I'm headed to Chicago tonight for doing a little cool opportunity. So I'll have you guys in good hands, though, with Garrett and Caleb. And those guys have a big week ahead of them as well. You'll hear more about that later on, but excited for them and some new beginnings there. And we'll send it over to The Drive, which is coming up next right here on Fan Run Radio.
Can't get enough Fan Run Radio? Download the free Fan Run app and take the best Tennessee sports conversations with you wherever you go. Fan Run Radio, where Big Orange Country comes to talk sports. Start your morning off with your daily dose of talk sports with John Reed and Cody McClure from 8 to 11. Then it's Tony Basilio from 11 to 1. The Playbook with William Pattison from 1 to 3. And The Drive from 3 to 6. It's 10 hours of hard-hitting local sports radio every day, right here on the flagship station for Tennessee fans. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Are you ready to show off that confident, radiant smile you've always dreamed of? Well, here at Knoxville Smiles, we're ready to turn your dream into a reality. At Knoxville Smiles, we're more than just a dental practice. We're your partners in achieving optimum oral health. From routine cleanings and checkups to advanced cosmetics and restorative procedures, we offer a wide range of services in an environment that makes every visit a positive and comfortable experience. At Knoxville Smiles, it's about more than just treatments. We're focused on creating a welcoming environment where you feel like family. Our state-of-the-art